The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
Well,
I'm darn sure not Everson, so
I'm definitely not Bill.
We got one old white sportscaster and
one fat guy
and one black former player. So I think
close, right?
everybody's got their roles.
He got one out of the three, right?
And by the way, that's what I was trying to tell you. Everybody's got their roles. I can play my role.
Okay.
And your guy's role is to pay attention to me here.
Okay.
Because we don't have Bill Jones here today. We don't have Everson Walls here today. So we had to go to the bullpen. But in our bullpen, our depth is so good.
Yes.
We have starters in there coming out of the bullpen.
Right.
Nate Newton right across from me. Brad Sham, the voice of the Dallas Cowboys, joining us. Special guest, right?
Special guest, baby.
And how about this? Between the three of us, we've been together for 34 years.
Wow.
You showed up in 86.
Yes, sir.
Right? Brad was already here.
Yes.
How many years?
By that time, 10.
10
Right.
years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I got here in 84.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when you showed up, the three of us, we've been kind of doing something with these Dallas Cowboys ever since.
Thank you, and I appreciate it. I've been blessed.
And we've been blessed to get to know who used to be the kitchen, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, we are going to do a little Cowboy talk here on this Thursday. Need to point out that the Cowboys finally got in a full practice on Wednesday. It's been a while since they've been able to practice. And they hit the pause button today for Markus Paul's memorial service. It was held at the North Colony Church of Christ, which is in Colony, Texas, just down the road from here. And the Cowboys decided that if they got a little football stuff in the morning, because I'm sure everybody had to show up to get tested, as they do on a daily basis, they did a little bit of football, and then they paused and allowed the players to virtually watch the memorial service, which I think was a really good idea. I don't know about you guys, but when I heard Mike McCarthy talk the other day about this pause that they've had has given them time to reflect after Marcus's death the day before Thanksgiving. I think that helped out. I think it helped out especially if you saw the interviews with the guys on Wednesday. You can tell the emotions were still pretty raw with Leighton Vander Esch, the things that he had to say. So I think that certainly helped out. It was ended up being a 90-minute memorial service, and it was pretty well done, pretty emotional. But I think it was something that these players needed to see. I don't know about you guys, what your thoughts are on it, but I think it'll help out in the grieving process.
Well, I don't think there's – and if you just want to know what the impact of this event was, Mike McCarthy, I believe – now, and forgive me because you're talking about Wednesday and Thursday, and I have no idea what the hell day it is.
Yes.
I don't know what day it is in real life, and I don't know what day it is in a football week. Because I can go from – if you tell me I got Thursday game, then Friday's Monday, and I'm good to go. But right now I got no idea what day it is, but I believe it was Monday of this week, real Monday, when McCarthy spoke.
Right.
Now, when he said at like midday, 11 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was, that he had not yet watched the tape of the game before. Maybe it was last Friday. Maybe it was the day after the game.
Yeah, he had not.
Yeah, and he had not watched the tape because he'd been on the phone all morning talking to people from around the league who worked with and knew Markus. Now, when's the last time you heard a head coach at like noon the day after a day game say that he hadn't watched the tape?
Yeah.
I mean, I have never experienced that. And you can tell he's not over it, and I'm sure a lot of those guys are not over it. So I agree with you. I think they needed the time. Now you would know better, Nate, being in the locker room. If you can just imagine somebody dying right in front of your eyes, what kind of an impact that would have on you? Somebody like that who you're around so much.
He's gruff guy, but Coach Warsick was close to us like this guy, and me, I just say prayers to the family, and I hope that these players can get through it, and the coaches, and it's just it's a sad thing when you lose somebody you love, friend, family, or whatever. So when I hear things like that, man, it ain't like, I don't want to say that no one's important, but when you have a guy that has to touch every player, and some coaches with their workout schedules, and he leads these guys out on the field for stretch and brings them up, and when every injury, he's a part of it. So, that's the impact that I can't even express. And so I just say sorry to the family and to his family, personal family, and to the Cowboy family, and you guys, because every time I saw him, he was smiling, and he spoke to me.
Soft-spoken.
And he was on the run.
Yes.
He was always moving, right?
Yeah. But he always had a smile, and he always had a nice word. And, since 2011, with the collective bargaining agreement, strength coaches have their hands literally and figuratively on the players months before their position coaches, their quote-unquote football coaches.
They're like the head coach at that time, right?
And they have them all year round. If you're hurt, you're not maybe in a meeting with your position coach and your coordinator, but you're darn sure with the trainers and the conditioning staff. They just touch everybody.
Think how much time Leighton Vander has spent with him after having the surgery he had last year and then having the rehab in the building. And because of the COVID-19, the guys that were rehabbing were the only ones allowed to be in there in the strength and conditioning. So he and Markus Paul and Britt Brown, they're tight. And then he breaks his collarbone. And there he's back in there working with those guys again.
Mick, there's a thing about that you're talking about why they needed the time. And it occurs to me, we see these guys, you and I, we see these guys, and I put Nate in the category of these guys. These are, they all know they can be injured when they play. They're aware of that. They've all been injured in some degree at some point. But this is not an injury.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, these players, especially the players, coaches usually a little older and they've figured out they're not quite so immortal. But players, football players, have to, in my opinion, have some sense of invincibility about them to go out and play this game. You can't worry about getting hurt, and that's the ultimate thing. And we always joke about, and Nate probably lived a little bit of this, about guys in any sport who are active players think of themselves as young men as being bulletproof and invisible, right?
That's right.
And now this is not an injury. This is a slap in the face, bucket of cold water right in front of your eyes. You're mortal.
Yeah. And you know what? It made me think back. So what I did, and I mentioned it, I think, on our show a day or so ago or whenever, like I said, I don't know what day it is. I counted up. There's 53 guys on the roster. There's 16 practice squad guys, and whoever else is on injured reserve. So we're talking 70-some guys, right? And I counted up 49 guys on this team are no more than 25 years old. Think back to when you were 25.
Must I?
And think about, you're not around death to young people or people, maybe your grandparents, something like that. But to these guys, this guy was like a father to them in there. And at that young age, you got to deal with death. And I was thinking back to myself, and I only could think of one person. It was my cousin's husband. My cousin's 10 years older than me. It was her husband passed away. And I remember being I was mad. I was like, what? Why?
And how old was he?
I don't even think he had hit maybe 40 at the most. He was a former Marine, and it was like, God, what's going on? And I remember being mad. So, yeah, I think it was good. And I don't know how close you guys got to Markus. I'd see him, I'd say hi, right? Because the weight room that's their domain, right? You don't go in there. You just don't go in there. And I think the longest conversation I had with him one day, so it would have been 2 years ago, I was showing somebody around, and we were looking through the glass wall to the weight room. And the guy was pretty impressed with everything. All of a sudden, Markus comes out. And I wouldn't even know he knew who I was. And he's going, "Hey, Mickey." I go, "What?" He goes, "Mike Wojcik wants you. Come in." And I said, "He does what?" Just like that, right? We know Wojcik, right?
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, come in. So we kind of chatted as I walked in, and Mike was like, "Hey, bring the guy in here. Show him around. What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, okay."
No, which, by the way, that was the real Mike Wojcik.
Right.
That is the real Mike Wojcik.
But the Mike Wojcik, his exterior was, "Don't tread on my treadmill in here."
I think
right?
Nate
You're
said the
not
word
in here.
gruff before.
Yeah.
And so what Markus Paul was the real Mike Wojcik without the gruff.
Right.
He could be businesslike because he had to be.
Right.
But he wasn't great. He was a sweet man.
And think about the fine line those guys have to draw between being that nice to these guys, befriending the players, but also saying, "Oh, no, wait a minute now, you're not getting away with murder in here just because I'm friendly with you." And I saw somebody comment about that. But really, that was the longest conversation I might have had with him. And I was sitting there reading all the tributes, all the tweets, and I'm going, you know what? I missed out. I missed out on getting to know a really neat guy because I just wasn't around him that much, and I don't know how much interaction you guys. Might have had.
After all this time, I really try to foster some. That's this, by the way, the hardest thing for me about this year. I really try to foster some kind of a personal relationship with as many people as I can, because you're going to learn something, and sometimes you run into Markus Paul, who there's never an interview that you want from him.
Right.
There's never a quote. It's just you're going to be better off for knowing him. And so I know him a little bit, and we had several conversations, and you can really understand why you were completely right. They needed the time.
Did you get to know him at all?
Like I say, I just met him a couple of times, but the greatness
Did
of
you play against? Did you not play against him? You must have.
You probably did, right?
But let me say this, fellas. I have nothing more to add or to take away, because the greatness of a man is how many people that will miss him. And it's just not no one that's not going to miss him. So that shows you what type of guy he was. Now, there's some guys that done went away, and I'm like, wow, okay. And you go to bed. But this guy here, you pray for his family.
Yeah, and it was certainly tough on him, his kids, his wife.
Yes.
But anyway, it was a.
Could you give us a list of some of those guys who they go away?
Some guys that go away, you just go to bed. Some guys you pray for.
But it was a really neat memorial service. People talked, and before this happened, I didn't put two and two together that Markus and DJ were teammates at Syracuse.
Not only were they teammates,
co-captains.
Have you seen the pictures? Have you seen Daryl Johnston's quotes about Daryl wore 32 and Markus wore 10, and Daryl tweeted the day after Markus passed. He said every time they're in the same class. 1989,
Right.
And Daryl said every time he walks past a clock and it's 10:32, he said that's me and Markus. He's 10, I'm 32. And that's the kind of an impact he had on Daryl as a teammate. As you said, co-captains.
Yeah.
And that's going back.
Yeah. So 84.
Almost 40 years.
84 was their freshman year at Syracuse. They got together. And I don't think I'm giving away anything, but one of his Marcus's roommate for those years at Syracuse was at the memorial service.
Oh, that's good.
And spoke, and they've been tight. And like DJ, if you've heard DJ talk about it, he basically pointed out that you get busy, right? And we were close and we knew each other. And he said, but not until he got here did they kind of reconnect on a personal basis, because DJ was part of the Expendables, right? The guys that would come in and work out, the old guys, Tony Tolbert and. they didn't drag you in there.
They tried.
They tried?
Yeah. But you know what? See,
who did you turn down? Tolbert, Darryl? Who'd you say no to?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But, and once again, it's certain people that I look at. If Coach Jimmy Johnson say nice things about you, you special.
Well, that's a pretty short list.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when I hear like Coach Johnson, I'm like, wow, Marcus touched a lot of people.
Yeah, he certainly did, and I guess I didn't realize or take the time to read it about his career at Syracuse, getting drafted in the 4th round by the Bears. So you would have played against him in that playoff game in that '91 season.
Sure, and that's why it was so ironic that Washington was the team that the Cowboys played when that happened, because Ron Rivera was teammates with Markus Paul in Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely. So, his antenna when he got back into coaching, strength and conditioning with Wysick in New Orleans, and then going to New England, then going to the Jets, and then the Giants. And I didn't realize he was with the Giants for 11 seasons. Mm-hmm. Won 2 more Super Bowls. He's got 5 Super Bowl rings.
Wow.
It's amazing. But that maybe that's the test of man, not what you accomplished, but the trail that you kind of left behind and the people you touched. All right, we're off to a great start here on Mick Shots, and we shall return in a moment.
Hey there, Cowboys fans. With Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery, cleaning your clothes has never been more convenient. Simply sign up at your local store, set out your dirty clothes, and one of our Tide Cleaners professionals will come directly to your home for a totally contactless experience. Your clean garments will be returned promptly the next scheduled delivery day, so skip the errand and enjoy life, not laundry. Visit TideCleaners.com or your local store to sign up for Tide Cleaners at-home pickup and delivery today.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Grab some OtterBox gear and get ready for hanging with the boys. From rugged venture coolers to tough as nails elevation tumblers, we've got what you need to keep your game day drinks frosty and your football feast ice cold. And with cases, screen protectors, and power accessories, you can defend your phone and stay connected to every play. Gear up at OtterBox.com and amp up the fun of every Cowboys game. That's OtterBox.com.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Ah, music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
Back to Mick Shots.
You can now support your beloved Cowboys from anywhere. Open up at AT&T's Fan Zone feature inside the Cowboys app and record your personal cheer and referee signals. I'm not sure which signals you want me to give, but I can give a few. You will receive a personalized mosaic and may show up on the AT&T Live FX video board during the game.
Not sure AT&T wants you using some of the signals that you have in mind.
Yes,
for that. But
they wouldn't make it to the mosaic.
Yeah, probably. But it's always an option.
Yes. So we return here on Mick Shots. Mickey Spagnola, Nate Newton, and Brad Sham joining us. Get him in this routine on the podcast. Nate and I have done several shows together. Actually, Brad and I have done several things together. So this is kind of like old home week, right?
Yes, it is. Wow.
So the Cowboys will get back to practice tomorrow. I believe that's Friday. Wednesday, they did have somewhat of a practice. They treated it as the first practice back from a bye week, so he went kind of easy on them. And then they did something where teams don't normally get to do. They watched the next opponent on TV. Had the opportunity to do that after their meetings by positions. Do you ever do that with your teammates? Watch the next opponent live on television?
A possible opponent. We had a shot, I think, when Jimmy first got here to get in the playoffs, so we all met at the Cowboy Cafe.
1990?
That was the last game of the 90 season, as a matter of fact, because
we didn't make it, of course.
You needed New Orleans to lose.
No, it was Green Bay.
Yeah. You needed somebody to
The
lose.
reason that I remember is I did the game in Green Bay for CBS Radio, and they had to lose, and then the Cowboys were in Atlanta in a rainstorm. And that was Babe Laufenberg's last.
No, he was talking about the next game.
Yeah, the
it
next
was
game
the Monday night game.
Yeah, we needed somebody to win.
They needed
the week before the last week.
They needed the Saints to lose to the Rams, and it was Monday night, and it went down to the last second of the game, and I believe New Orleans kicked the winning field goal as time expired, but they were all there watching the game.
But if you were at Cowboys Cafe and it was 1990, were any of you paying attention to the game by then?
We were.
They were cheering.
We were into that game. And I tell you, once we saw that we wasn't in it, then several hours later, we wobbled out of there. I don't know how
Did they run out of beer or Crown or whatever else?
Yes, sir. All of the above.
7-9 was going to make the playoffs.
Yes.
So don't be making fun of 7-9 this year, right? Yeah. You would have thought that was the greatest thing in the world.
As a player, you never give up. As a player, you never give up. You never know what'll happen. You just never give up.
And that's kind of the situation the Cowboys are in now at 3-8. 5 games to go, and they will return to practice on Friday.
So today is Tuesday.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday you travel, but they normally practice on Saturday, which is
Monday is Saturday, right? So practice and travel. So now I think I can. And the only problem now I know that Thursday is Tuesday. But the problem is the Baltimore team that we saw yesterday was still missing 12 or 15 COVID patients.
Right.
And they can get 8 of them back.
Yes, they can.
Will they get the quarterback back?
I mean, he's one of them who can come back.
Okay.
The tight end, Andrews from Oklahoma, he won't be back. And the wide receiver who used to be with New Orleans, he won't be back. Snead. And there's one other player who won't be back, a linebacker. The rest of them can come back. So I'm not entirely sure how much good they got out of watching that game in terms of preparing for what Baltimore can do or will do. Their center yesterday was a rookie who has been he's been inactive all year, and it was his first NFL snaps because their first 2 centers are on the COVID list, and one of those guys is their backup guard and tackle also. So, I mean, all of that stuff's different. So
join the Cowboys boat.
Yeah, but
same thing, except injuries instead of COVID.
Yeah.
On their offensive line, right?
On their offensive line.
So will these guys see? Here's the key thing, though. Do they get allowed back into the building to be able to practice for the game? Because I start counting days with Lamar Jackson, and I thought it was getting pretty close to. Yeah, he's eligible to play, but can he practice?
And that's a lot of work. You guys, I commend y'all because I'm not doing that type of work to find out. So that's too much work, man. So you either can play or you can't play. All I want to know is who lining up on that day. And this is what this COVID world has brought us, is today I can't play. 2 days from now, I haven't practiced in 2 weeks, but today I can play, and I'm playing.
Now, if you're an offensive lineman and you're preparing for them, you may not have seen
that's right
yesterday who you're going to see. But I will say this. When training camps were starting and we were all trying to guess what was going to happen, it seemed to me that every team at some point would just deal with not having a guy available for a couple of weeks for COVID. And that hasn't happened. Obviously, Baltimore's an extreme case. Denver ran into a little problem the other day. And now as we get later in the year and the weather is worse and the outbreaks going, there's more and more guys. But every team has not had players unavailable because of the virus.
Right.
And so I think in that respect, the league maybe has exceeded some expectations.
I was one of the guys that from day one have always believed that put on your mask. If it's a little bit scarier than that, put on your gloves and let's face this thing. Because now, by what's happening here, the sports world, the real world, people are starting to move forward and figure this thing out. And as this thing go forward, it will get a little bit worse because of the weather change, but we would deal with it without panic. And as we see now, the world does not fall apart because the Ravens, Lamar Jackson ain't in there. The world continues to move on. Right. So now we can just relax. If he's there, like I said, if he's there, he's there. You just have to deal with it. Right. And so will he be that same guy? He won't. I'm telling you. We don't know the effects. That's the only thing that scares me. We don't know the effect of how each person is going to affect differently. So will he have a little breathing issue, trying to get his legs under him? Will he be, we saw it physically affect Cam Newton.
Well,
it affected him.
But another thing we don't know is when a guy is missing time because he's tested positive.
Right.
Or if he's missing time, that doesn't mean he is symptomatic. It could be someone close to him.
Thank you.
So the guy may be affected. He may not be affected. And actually, if RG3 is the quarterback, then he's just going to run through the Cowboys' defense. It doesn't really matter which one of them is
Don't
doing
have to
that.
throw the ball, right?
The thing that's amazing here is we finally have some semblance of order on defense, because I'm just a firm believer that we're going to get a few of our guys back next year on offense. I'm not saying all of will be in place, but we will have enough guys on our offense next year to be effective, to be more than effective. Now the problem is, will these guys, the young guys, have enough knowledge and understanding on what the NFL game is about? Because I just believe, and I know we probably need to be talking about the Ravens, but I believe that the NFL.
It's only Tuesday. We don't have to talk about the Ravens.
And all major sports will find a way to practice. What has been missing in all the major sports is practice, except the NBA, because they can bubble with. They got 12 players, 15 players. They can bubble more important, easier than we can.
And that's an interesting question, because I raised the question to somebody the other day, why not have every team bubble right now? The league can't do it. There's too many of them, like you're saying. Why couldn't – the Cowboys have already done that with their coaches. But the coaches are in a bubble.
Yeah.
Why could you not have every – we're not talking about 4 months now. We're talking about 1 month.
Bubble the rest of the season, yes.
Bubble every team. New England, find a place in Rhode Island or wherever you want to go, and bubble up. Dallas, you've got that. The Omni is right there, and that's where your coaches are, and that's where your players put themselves in training camp for a month to finish out the season. Bubble up.
And I don't know if you guys saw the interview yesterday at halftime with
the commissioner.
Yeah. And they basically asked him, have you considered a playoff bubble? And he said, no, we think our protocols, if everybody follows the rules, but I do think we can do more to create isolation.
Yeah.
To me, he was saying the teams that make the playoffs get in a bubble. Do what the Cowboys are doing now with their coaches.
Yeah,
because now you're only looking at so many teams. You're not looking at 32 teams times 70.
That's right. But I would respectfully say to the commissioner, be a responsible federal government and don't leave it to the states.
Right.
In the playoffs, You just tell everyone that they've got
That's what you need to do.
Just do it.
And I think he was hinting towards that if you get into the playoffs,
Look at Nate.
you don't have to bring.
Nate.
How many
Nate's
teams?
Nate,
how many teams?
What's the matter, Nate?
How many are in the playoffs? How many teams?
I think 16 right now.
16.
Nate, what's
so
the matter?
bringing 16 football players to one spot like the NBA did is probably unrealistic.
16 teams, you mean?
Teams, yes.
Yeah, you said players, yeah. Teams.
Yeah, 16 football teams.
Maybe.
But to tell each team to isolate on your own.
What's up, Nate?
See, this is where I have an issue with a power. There's 3 powers that I know. It's the NBA, it's the NFL, and it's Major League Baseball. You pay a dude over $25 million a year, and he does not have the power to say, Brad, Mick.
I'm sorry.
Bubble up.
Are you talking about the commissioner?
Yes. Bubble up.
$50 million. 50. Let me not drool on myself. $50 million.
And I don't have the power to say, bubble up.
It's going to happen in the playoffs per team.
Come on.
Per
See,
team.
that's the only thing that bothers me, and that's why I fought so hard, and I love the commissioner of the NBA. He said, you know what? I have a responsibility to the players, and I have a responsibility to my sponsors. And they are one and the same. Bubble up.
Don't you think if your team, if you were the Kansas City Chiefs, that you would just say, hey, we're hotels right there next to the ballpark. We're staying there.
100%.
Just 4 weeks.
See,
right?
That's what I'm saying. We're all on the same page. We're not talking about what 6 weeks ago.
Right.
We're talking about the last 4 weeks of the season, the most serious time of this COVID. You won't tell me that DeMarcus Lawrence and those guys won't love you to death because they say, hey, fellas, let's make a run at this thing in the last 4 weeks. Tell your wives that, hey, this is a bad time of the year.
See you in a month.
See you in a month.
What if you're the owner of Pittsburgh? You got an undefeated team. You know, you're going to try to tie history here. Bubble up.
The Lions and the Jets can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing,
and Denver, right?
The thing that is thank God, man. And I shouldn't say thank God because it may upset somebody, but thank God that I got 2 sensible men here on the show today, because I've never understood. My wife be like, baby, you don't understand. I said, but baby, he makes over $25 million a year.
50.
You ain't gonna let me get
50.
And he can't tell his owners for the last part of this season.
This is what we're doing.
This is what we're doing, fellas.
All right, don't go anywhere because this is a sensible Mick Shots show here on a Thursday from our SWBC Mortgage Studio. We'll return in a moment.
We're back with a tasty treat that's sweeping airwaves and taste buds. It's new Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda's here. A new combo that's music to my ears, okay. Let's play. Cream Soda and Dr. Pepper time. Pour it in a glass of ice.
Music to my ears and mouth. New Dr. Pepper and Cream Soda.
A delicious duet.
Dear, it's 1908. Don't you think we should get electricity?
And stop using candles to see at night.
It's just electricity lights up the room fast. It's more reliable than candles blowing out, and people seem to love it nationwide.
Well, candles are...
Dear, did you just run into the wall?
Nope. May I have a new candle, please?
Historically, switching to new technology is a no-brainer. Today, it's AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure, and nationwide. Switch to AT&T 5G. It's not complicated. 5G requires compatible plan. May not be in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
I'm Jay Novacek, former tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Back in the day, I was the guy who always got the tough yards, and that's why I run with John Deere today. In fact, I have a John Deere 3025E tractor that can handle any yard work I need to do, even the tough yards way out back. So if you have 1 acre or 1,000, John Deere has the equipment that's just right for you. Visit a John Deere dealer today and run with us. We are the official tractor provider of your Dallas Cowboys.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Back to Mick Shots.
The Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship returns to AT&T Stadium on Saturday, December 19th, when the top 2 football teams in the Big 12 Conference face off. Tickets are on sale now at SeatGeek.com. Get yours before they sell out. You think the boxing match will sell out on Saturday?
Who's going at it?
Errol Spence Jr., Danny Garcia.
When you say sold out, how many tickets are they making available?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, it's not 80,000.
Yeah, no, absolutely not for boxing. I think this might be a pay-per-view for me. I went the last couple times he fought. One here at the Ford Center and one at AT&T Stadium.
I think this is just me. Right now, I don't think it's a good idea to go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
Let alone a big sporting event. 2-3 more months. It's been a hellscape of an 8 or 9 months. And here we are. And we all made it to this point, except the ones who didn't. Except the ones, and you said something before, Nate, that I wish more people would pay attention to, because the presentation that we get is about you live or you die. It's 99% survival. Mm. Yes, that's correct. Now, do we not all know people who have had it, didn't die, and have residual physical effects, and they don't yet know how much longer those effects will last?
Thank you.
This is not to be messed with.
No.
So I'm really not doing much more than this.
Right.
See my son, and that's about it. We've come this far. We can do it 3 more months.
I remarked to somebody the other day. I said, I don't think it's a good thing I like where I live, because I don't think I've eaten a meal anywhere else but home, lunch here, and at the stadium when I went to a Cowboys game in the press box. That's it. I haven't eaten anywhere since the end of March.
Well, one thing I found out, man, and I'm truly happy now, is I know that I love my wife.
There you go.
Otherwise,
I see her every day.
Can I tell you something more important?
Wow.
You know that she loves you.
Yes.
Because after all this time, if she didn't really love you,
thank you.
You'd be out. You'd be in the street, brother, if you were that lucky.
I'm telling you. And so, for all you guys and gals that found out you didn't like each other, go back to work. Go back to the office.
So, Nate, you said something about the game yesterday, Baltimore-Pittsburgh. And somebody asked me today, what did you learn? And I said, well, here's what I learned. No matter how badly you might struggle on offense, that doesn't mean you have to struggle on defense. Defense can keep you in a game.
Yes, it can.
And unfortunately, what we've seen here is the defense has rarely given the Cowboys a chance to stay in games. I understand, all the debate on fake punt, no fake punt, smart, dumb, desperate. But that didn't mean the next play you got to give up a 23-yard touchdown run. And so the defense can help this team out when they're struggling on an offensive line and they're not scoring a heck of a lot of points.
This is we probably gonna say it 1,000 more times. You and me and everybody, and you, Mick. We're gonna say it 1,000 more times. It's a strange year. The way this game was played was we were trying to match up with this team. When they went 2 tight ends, we bring in our big people. When they went 3 wides, we bring in our – and it got so weird for our coaches till they went dime. They said, forget it. We gonna stay with our hybrid package. And they went with it. And we have nobody that could tackle these guys. So, you know what, Mick? I ain't giving up on this year by no means, but let's play this year out defensively and offensively. Let these young guys have an opportunity, and the veterans that you know are going to keep, let them play. Just let them play. Show them where the lineup at. Ask everybody to do the best job they can. Let this year play out. Let's figure out a way to have a real training camp, a real off season, and let's see where we fit now, because this year here, it's critical. It's critical for our head coach, our defensive and offensive coordinators. Everybody can learn something about themselves and the players in front of them. And more importantly, just promise me we're not going to get guys on this team that don't care. I see a lot. That it ain't the defense. It ain't the coaches. It's the guys. You got to get a few more guys that care.
You touched on two things. One is I texted Babe yesterday or the day before, and I said, feel free to slap me for even saying this. What's the Cowboys' record right now?
3-8.
All three other teams, I will make this bold prediction. The other three teams in the division, before the Cowboys take the field in Baltimore, will also have their 8th loss. So you just can't say that no matter how bad what we've been looking at has been,
right.
You can't say you don't have a chance because you're going to take the field probably even in losses with everybody else. So you got to win some games. Now, the next thing that you were talking about is think back to training camp. You're talking about they're going a dime and they're doing this. This team's base defense is nickel.
Yes, it is.
They have never – I didn't miss a practice.
Preach to me.
I did not miss a practice like you in training camp.
But I saw those same practices.
But there were never a practice with
it was
three linebackers on the field.
Thank you.
Now, if the linebackers you have don't play like all-stars, now you get some of what we have been looking at. And, shoot me, when you're not running the ball that well and Sean Lee's healthy, can I have those three linebackers on the field? I'm not a coach. I don't know very much, but I know what I'm looking at is not very good. And so can we do something else? Now, what you said about guys who care, so right. And one of the reasons I think they started playing better is addition by subtraction with some of the personnel moves they made.
Right.
And you took away some guys and you empowered people like Armstrong and Neville Gallimore and those guys. Now you have some more injuries. You lost Diggs. He's your best corner. Anthony Brown's probably your second best corner. He's probably not going to be able to play again this week. Well, okay, that's personnel. You have to do the best you can. And they've tried this. 2 games ago? They played 5 defensive. It was a road game. I know that they played 5 defensive linemen the whole game. And really, Armstrong was more of a stand-up linebacker.
He was like the strong side guy.
Yeah, except he was up on the line of scrimmage most of the time. So, we all love offense. We all love the emphasis the organization has put on acquiring offensive players, making a premium of it for so many years. And I think what Nate said before is really important. The offense next year, as far as I know, they're going to get both tackles back.
Yes.
They're going to be, if you re-sign Looney, you're going to have Biotish and Looney. You're going to be stronger up front than you've been. You now know that Jarwin and Schultz can be 2 effective tight ends. Oh, by the way, you're going to have your quarterback back. I think your offense is fine.
I should have invited you guys on the show. Everybody got tired of me saying that about 2 linebackers, 1 linebacker. Can I have a real linebacker be that third guy instead of a defensive end standing up, masquerading as a linebacker,
or your fourth safety?
Yeah. See, and I don't understand. See, we see that.
You can still play defense in this league, and if you don't put some emphasis on it, what we have been watching for the last 2 or 3 months is what you're going to get.
And which, by the way, Trayvon Diggs was out there doing some rehab on the field yesterday. So maybe he's not that far away. It might not have been a weight-bearing bone he fractured in his foot. I would think it's going to be a short week after this game, right? Maybe the final 3 games he could very well be back. Anthony Brown, you mentioned, was on the side.
Yeah,
doing
he's
rehab
still
stuff.
fighting that rib.
And he was not close to practicing.
Yeah.
But he was at least doing running and rehab. So now you're down to the same problem in the secondary.
I just think this coaching staff needs to really put emphasis on next week, these 2 games, one at a time, but don't throw them away because you're saying, well, I've got 2 more division games coming. You got to win every game because I'm telling you, you're going to wake up Tuesday morning and find the other teams in your division with the same number of losses as you.
So Brad is not betting on the Giants winning at Seattle.
Without Daniel Jones?
Right. He's not betting on Washington winning at Pittsburgh.
I am not.
And he's not betting on Philadelphia winning at Green Bay.
I am not.
If they win one, they're it's amazing. And you know what? For those teams, it gets worse because then the Giants have Arizona. Washington is at San Francisco. And Philly gets to play host to New Orleans.
So how about this? How much time do we have?
We could stretch it another minute or so.
Which of if you're objective and we're not doing a Dallas Cowboys show, which of the 4 NFC East teams right now do you think is best positioned to win the division?
I think the Washington Redskins.
That was going to be my guess because of their defense. I think their defense. But you think about it though. 3 of the 4 teams.
Their quarterback is more stable. That's why
I think it's Washington.
Smith.
I think it's Washington because they've got an outstanding defense, but they've got the best quarterback situation right now. And I'm not knocking Andy Dalton. I think that what he's dealing with in the offensive line is somewhat problematic. And those guys, they can play better. Maybe they can play better, and the game plan has to accommodate. Get the ball. One thing you can get from watching Pittsburgh and Baltimore is if you can get the ball out fast, then you don't necessarily have to deal so much with the pass rush. But I would say Washington right now is best positioned because I think Alex Smith. And the way their offensive line is playing, they don't have the Cowboys receivers.
You name the next. Well, you will because you did play-by-play. The next receiver after Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
Some guy named Sims, I think.
They have 2 guys named Sims.
2 guys. Okay.
And you can't tell them apart.
Take my choice.
Yeah.
So 4-8 would be looking pretty good.
Just telling you,
Tuesday night.
They have to really concentrate on every game, and they have to figure out a way to make Baltimore a winnable game because they could be 4-8 and right there.
The reason you can beat Baltimore, and I know it's simply said, put 8 in the box and don't be scared. Don't be scared of the pass that ain't there.
Let them beat you throwing the ball.
Their pass is a camouflage at this time. Just stop their running game and let's see what they throw. And I promise you, they can't throw good enough to win.
What's my number here? 32nd in run defense, 156 yards a game.
Dallas?
Yes.
I'll put 8 in the box,
Put 8
man.
up there. Hey, give me 3 linebackers.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, running, you would not run the ball. This team, they can't. I don't care if it's RG3. I don't care if it's Lamar. He's not progressed. Since he started from day one to now, I don't see the progression that's needed to be a next level quarterback.
Now what you do, but you have to deal with the Baltimore defense.
Yeah. Oh, now you didn't say that.
Well, I just did. I just did.
Maybe they could score more than one touchdown.
Oh,
right?
You got to score at least 3 touchdowns against them.
All right,
Yeah.
You don't get this kind of information every day, just anywhere. I appreciate everybody joining for Mick Shot. Thank you for filling in,
you,
Nate,
brother.
Brad. Thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This was a heck of a lot of fun. Mick Shots will return on
what day is it?
Monday. Monday we return on Mick Shots. See you guys.
Real Monday.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this,